Chuck's got the questions, digging so sharp, peeling back layers, hitting the heart. Chuck Shute podcast, blowing your mind. Every topic, one of a kind.
How you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Great. Yeah, I just watched your movie last night.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm a fan now of so much more than just Our Lady Peace. I'm a fan of this other project. I know it's probably just that one-off thing, but you and your wife made some amazing music in that film. It was just so real, like watching it.
I hope you were drinking while you're watching it.
No, it was fun. It was because you hear so many of these stories, doing these interviews about how music is made and the fights and all this, and that's the creativity. And it's like, we got to see it in this film. It was really cool.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, because that's kind of one of the things, where we were filming it. We wanted it. We figured, hey, we're going away to film this record, and we did it all, but obviously it got all the other stuff. And then when you're in the edit room, it's like, if we don't include that, getting to one of these songs, like just showing, all of a sudden we just wrote this song. Like, if you don't show the fight before it, it's like, it's not going to make sense. So we both kind of twisted each other's arm to say, we need to keep that stuff in there. And it became a different thing, but I love it. I'm proud of it.
Yeah, it's real. See, that's what I like.
Very real.
When the documentaries are edited to show it, and it's like this perfect feel-good thing. It's so fake. And this was real. It showed the good and the bad. And then obviously you see the results at the end, the music that you guys made together. And then it also just kind of shows how cutthroat the music business is, because why these songs are not like the biggest number one hits of all time.
Oh, I appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're actually, it's funny. We have a book that we're just finishing, kind of based on all the we had such great feedback from that film, where fans were just saying, oh, you know what, this just normalizes my relationship and this and that. So we wrote this book. We're just finishing the edit of it now, and we have new music coming out as well. So this is a thing. Like, we're really excited about it, and it's real.
That's very cool. And I think too, that's what's cool about learning about you and like what you're about, that the social causes, like with this new single, the Redux or whatever.
Yeah.
And you've kind of turned this into a positive thing, this tragedy. And now you're donating the proceeds to mental health organizations. I love that. I mean, I worked in mental health for 17 years. So any sort of awareness is just so great to, especially someone with your, celebrity status that can actually shed a light on it, not just try to sell more singles. You're actually trying to do something with it. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, it's so easy to say, hey, we're doing this, we're trying to end stigma, and not that that's a cliche, like, it's real, but this finally gave us a vehicle to feel like, yeah, we talk about this at every show. The reaction's super positive, and so I think it is helping to end stigma, because we talk about, I just say, what, this guy had, probably some CT, he was a wrestler, but that creates this mental health kind of like spiral, and we saw what happened. Don't suffer in silence. You got to reach out to people. You should feel comfortable talking about mental health, issues. And so the idea of like people being in crisis, hopefully people get that. And I'm surprised by the reaction, because it's always like a little bit touchy, but the crowd just kind of, there's huge applause for it. And I feel like it's very communal. So I think we're making headway there.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. I love what, I heard Dr. Drew say this. It was so cool. I really like this analogy. Like, if you're in that spot where you're just really feeling suicidal or just hurt yourself or someone else, you have to call 911 and treat it like a medical emergency. And that's really what it is.
Yeah. It's funny, right? The brain we treat differently than, like, if you think you're having a heart attack or you broke your arm. So once we get to where those are all the same, exist in the same kind of crisis, then I think we're in a much better place. But yeah, the quote of treating it like a physical animal, it's your brain.
Yeah. Does it, like, when you start diving into these causes and things, does that help inspire the music?
I mean, I don't think I can ever write music, especially on the lyric side, without having like human experiences. The idea of like, and I've been there where I've kind of like taken 3 months off and haven't done, whether it's after a long tour or making a record where I haven't really done anything. And then I go to write it and I'm like, oh, I haven't done anything. Like, no wonder there's nothing really to talk about. So, yeah, I mean, I've traveled to, from like Iraq and Darfur and Ethiopia and different places with organizations, and then, being in the mental health kind of game and just advocating for different things. It just gets you out there, and it gets you to have these experiences that are, usually profound and somehow make their way through music. And it's not always stuff that's that heavy, but again, I think the ability to live and get outside of yourself is really important to be a songwriter.
Yeah. Do you hear a lot of those stories from fans about songs that you've written and performed that have changed their life? I mean, I feel like that's pretty common in the music
Yeah.
business. Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of them are like part of that life experience where it's like, hey, that's actually not what the song was written about, but if that was your experience with it, that's to me that's such a magical, beautiful thing. I think I felt that way. There was something about songs when I was growing up that was almost just like religious to me. It was like that was therapy, it was philosophy, it was spiritual. And so I'm always blown away when I hear stories from fans.
Yeah. So there's there certain songs that you've written that were not, and then people will tell you, oh, this, resonated with me, and it was totally the opposite.
Yeah, I mean, "Clumsy" tends to be one of those songs where it's just about the human struggle and, the juxtaposition of someone, you know, out there in the ocean, and you're looking at them, and it looks like they're waving to you, but they're actually drowning, and that I think that was always like a mental health concept to me. It's like, are we seeing someone for what they really are? Like, you think they're waving, kind of like they're smiling and they're happy. And if someone's too happy, there's like maybe there's something deeper here. And that was always what Clumsy, that pre-chorus and Clumsy was about. So seeing people not misinterpret it, but think it's about their brother or something more personal when it's really just about this more general thing. I love that they can do that, and that's the beauty of songwriting.
Yeah, I know when I was a kid, like when I was a teenager, I remember just listening to a lot of metal. And I mean, it wasn't even necessarily the lyrics. It was just like how the song made you feel, like it was aggressive, like Pantera or Metallica or whatever. And it would just, get you out of your funk. Like you were mad about something, you could listen to that and that would kind of like get out the emotion.
Oh man, you know what, Chuck? I listen to this a lot when I'm working out. I've always been a huge Deftones fan, but I can't even remember the name of the song right now. I apologize. I need another coffee. But the chorus just says, "And God bless you all for the thoughts you something," and I'm like, it just feels. It's a heavy freaking song, but it just feels so good. It's like
Right.
it's such a even if that's all Chino said was "God bless you all." It's really just that lyric under the chords and the way he's singing. It's just like, oh my God, why can't we just be kind to each other? You know what I mean? Like, why can't we look at each other in those lights sometime? And it's funny that like that little example is like truly the magic of music for me.
That's awesome. I love it. Yeah, that's such a great message. I feel like that's definitely lacking in the world. Although, if you get out of the internet, you go into the real world and you sit down and talk
Yes,
with people one on one, everyone's like really cool. Even if you have different political beliefs or different
I
sports
know.
or whatever, it doesn't, all that shit in real life, you don't
Yes,
give a fuck, right? Like it's the internet, people, it brings out the worst in people. And people
it's a
have these discussions about music or sports and they're like ready to kill each other. And I'm like, what,
it,
what is wrong
the,
with these people?
social media is literally a race to the bottom. They're just trying to get you to be as vile as you can. And I agree. Like, once you put down that phone, people are generally good. We need to have faith in that.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to figure out like how do we get people together? Because I think back in the day, it used to be the church was a big that was a big
Yeah,
community where everybody gathered, and now I think a lot of younger people are not religious, and probably a
yeah.
lot of people in my generation are really not. I mean, there is that portion, but then what about the people who aren't religious? I mean, are we going to try to convert everybody religious, or is there
Right.
other community kind of things that people can do, or besides bars too? Because you start getting older, you can't drink as much as you used to either. So, yeah,
That's for sure. Yeah, yeah.
I don't know what the answer is, but it's fun.
Well, I think music plays a role in that because I think music
Yeah,
still has this spiritual connection, and it can move you more than binging a TV show sometimes. Like, you just talk about the value of music and how we've unfortunately undervalued it, with all the,
mhm,
the new, like the paradigm shift in the music business, the fact that I put on like a Jeff Buckley record or a Deftones record, and it just takes me away and it makes me feel good again. And I can do that for the next 50 years. And I've done it for the last 30 years. And so that shows you how valuable a song is to our psyche and our future existence. Whereas unfortunately, everything else has more value, and music's kind of been depleted to the bottom of the barrel where, like you said, everyone would rather doom scroll than sit and listen to maybe an album. And I don't want to sound old in terms of like, that's where we should get back to. But I think if there's one thing that can save us, it's music.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the pluses and minuses of how the music industry has changed. Because I think back in the day, and you've talked about this, how the record companies were kind of the gatekeepers, and like obviously there was a bad thing to that because there was a lot of talented musicians who didn't get their chance. But the good thing about that is there was less music to listen to. So when an album came out, it was a big thing. Like everybody could listen to the same music. Like in the 60s and 70s were all these, very inspirational, like peace songs and political songs that everybody the whole country got behind. Now there's so much music. Everyone's kind of in their all different little kind of sections of music. Like it's great in some ways, but there's not one song that everyone is listening to.
Yeah, you're right. That's really on point. It's much more fractured these days. But I think I think as a community, we are looking for those kind of like watershed moments in life where it moves the hell out of you, and everyone does find that together. I see that happen in films sometimes. I think you see that with some TV shows that people binge that have that effect. But yeah, I'm kind of waiting for that next thing in music. I think it's there. I think it's coming. Especially a lot of when I look at the young musicians making music, it's real music. There's a lot of like people trying to start bands again, which wasn't happening for the last 10 years. But I see that happening now. And I see, I was there's a young artist on this tour with us called Graylin James Rue, and her boyfriend's a musician. She's a great musician. And they're trying to make real music. And they're talking about, she was talking about her autoimmune disease on stage the other night. And it was like, wow, these kids are brave, man. I think so. That next generation is really gonna make some waves.
Oh, that's good to hear. Yeah, I saw that name when I was looking at your tour history, and I was like, oh, I'll have to ask you about that. So she's really talented and doing real music, not using electronic or whatever.
Oh man, she's the real deal. She comes from like, her dad was kind of a hippie, listened to a lot of Zeppelin, but listened to current music too. But she gets up there and it's just the real deal. She's got a rock band, and people are loving it. And when I talk to her, and like her boyfriend's an artist as well, he's on the road doing all the video stuff. When I talk to them, I'm like, okay, I got faith in this next generation.
That's cool. So you mentioned Zeppelin. I was going to ask, did you tour with Page and Plant?
We did, man. We're on this crazy. It was like we were just starting down here in the U.S. and we were starting to like bring fans out to our own little shows, club shows. So we loaded into the Middle East in Boston, which is like a cool club. And I was like, Frank Black's on the wall, Nirvana signed a poster, and Soundgarden had signed. So it's like, this is what we're supposed to be doing. And then about 7:00, right before his sound check, our tour manager runs in and he goes, "You're not going to believe this." He goes, "Robert Plant was just riding around on a limo in New York and heard Starseed, which was our single, on the radio." And he was like, he just called us and he said, "These guys got to come home for us in Indianapolis and join the tour." I was like, okay, but we're doing this show tonight and fans have already bought tickets. He's like, "I don't care. We are leaving and we're going to do this." And it was epic. It's like Robert Plant came up to me, talked about that first album we made, Naveed, and was telling me how much he liked the lyrics and the sound. I was just like, what is happening? And he was the sweetest guy in the world. And it kind of set me up for this career in music where it's like, you know what? If that guy's not a dick, don't ever be a dick.
I love that. That is so cool. So you kind of learned that, now you're passing that to people like Graylin.
I hope so. Like, I think we got to always support each other, but yeah, like egos and that stuff there. I get it. You have to have an ego just to be a singer in a band, but you got to keep it in check because we just got to keep this wheel turning before, like it's the music business is hard enough these days. So you have to, like what Robert did to me. Yeah, I can't really do the same thing to Graylin because I don't have that weight, but being there as a sounding board, being there as, anytime she wants advice, I'm 100% that.
Yeah, I mean, so that is something that you like to do, is kind of mentor or help young bands as much as you can, because you're still in the business. Not like you
Yeah,
can.
yeah. But I mean but that says something. And so is Robert Plant, by the way. You know, it's
Yeah,
like that
sure.
that shows you where your priorities are. Like we're still, and Robert's still making new music. You know, we're not some nostalgia act. Obviously, Robert isn't. And for Graylin to see that you can have this long career it's really important to show that.
Yeah, you toured with Van Halen too, but I was reading that that didn't go as well or something. Like there was, you almost got kicked off the tour, but it was like a thing where
I,
Eddie and Alex wanted you, but Sammy didn't or something. There was some.
Yeah, I mean it was tough, and I'd heard stories like Alice in Chains had toured them before. I heard that was tough on those guys, so I knew it was going to be different. It was the same thing, you know. I check it was like those fans they wanted these they paid tickets to see Van Halen, not some band they'd maybe heard one song from play for 40 minutes. So I had a lot of fans in the front row just giving me like the fingers the whole time, and I was cool with it for a minute. I actually didn't mind it. I
Huh.
always look at being on stage like a bit of battle. It's like a war. It's like a war for hearts and minds of the audience. But I was fine with it. But Sammy came up to me one day. He was like, dude, this isn't working. You've got to be like, you're an entertainer. You have to try to get the crowd excited and have fun up there. And I was like, dude, I'm not, I love what you do. You're an amazing singer. I grew up in Van Halen. Like 1984, I almost got a tattoo. Like, but I'm not you. Like I don't wear, you know, I'm just not that kind of. I see a line between like being an artist and an entertainer. And I said, fortunately, man, I'm more like I'm more on that artist side. So I'm not the guy that's going to go try to rile up the crowd. And it's not a party for me. This is my art. And he was just like, awesome, you guys are done. But Alex and Eddie really supported us. And you know, I think Sammy was just having a bad day. But
Hmm.
yeah, Alex and Eddie are like they're musical heroes to me. I was so sad when Eddie passed away, but those guys literally saved us from the on the tour. But also, those guys practice so much. Like Eddie would walk into catering at noon with the guitar on. He would start sound check too early, 2 hours early, and just like that, you have to be your craft, and he was. And same with Alex, and like that taught us all a lot.
Yeah, that's what I heard. The same thing. I had a guitarist from Ugly Kid Joe that they had opened for Van Halen. He said, yeah, you'd walk into the dressing room and Eddie would be in there with the his tidy whiteies and just playing the guitar. And
Playing
he's,
guitar, I
this
was
is
just like,
fucking
what?
weird.
That dude never needed to practice, but
Yeah,
like he was.
he loved it.
It was a part. It was like you know, a fifth limb. It was an extension of of who he was as a person, and that it's just like that. If you want to be in this business, that is a piece of advice for a young artist. Like you have to be that.
Yeah, you have to really love it. The music part of it. You can love the business part too, but yeah, like eventually that you'll burn yourself out if you're just trying to chase the views and the
Uh,
listens and the.
100%. Like Eddie, yeah, he wasn't playing for everyone. He was playing for himself, like you said, in his underwear in his dressing room or at catering. You know, everyone else eating, he's just playing guitar. It's like you have to love it that much.
Yeah, I just saw this clip of Rick Rubin, and he was saying how he only makes he only makes things for himself. Like he's not making it for the general public. And he's like, if you're true to yourself and you're making something that you think is good, then you'll have good results.
Dude, I'm 100% with that. There was a moment in that film that my wife and I made where she says, like, is this song for the masses? And I was like, whoa, it started a huge fight. I was like, what do you mean the
Yeah,
masses? Like, we are not making music for the masses. We're making
right.
music so the both of us walk out of this hotel room on this little French island loving the music. I don't care who hears, and you have to think that way. Yeah, I'm completely aligned with Rick. Because if you do love something that much, chances are someone else will too.
Right. Yeah, I think it shows. Like that's what I could see in that film. You could see how passionate you both were about why you thought the song should be this way or that way, and like and that creative chemistry, I think, made the great music. Like if both of you were just like, yeah, whatever, like yeah, whatever, it doesn't matter, it wouldn't have sounded that good.
No, and my wife comes. My wife's a you know no not many people know this, but she's written big songs for
Oh
Drake and
yeah,
Kendrick Lamar and all these people. So she knows how to write like a pop
right.
song. But
Yeah.
this was a different thing. It's like this was supposed to be so personal, and we did it, and we made stuff that is truly personal. But sometimes you got to battle to get there, you know.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of a Star Is Born. Was it partly inspired by that at all?
We did it. We did our film was made before that. I haven't seen that movie.
Oh, Really?
But I get the, I get the comparisons. I have to watch it one day. I'll see it on a plane or something.
Oh yeah. Oh, well, you've heard the songs, I'm sure.
I heard that one song, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the whole thing is, I mean, obviously it's different because it's scripted or whatever, but yeah, I mean, it's similar kind of thing. Or I just love music. So I'm so jealous of people that can create. I tried to play guitar and I sucked. I was like, damn it, I just love music.
Everyone can play guitar. You just gotta,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I can do I can do some Metallica riffs and stuff. It's fun, but
There you go.
when you watch people like yourself, are just like, okay, no, I'll leave this to the professionals. Like you guys are so amazing and you felt like you always had that talent in you, or did you something you kind of developed over the years?
I knew early on that I had to find a way to talk to my thought, like to get my, like I'd always write thoughts and like, even at school, like on the back of my binders for math, I'd be writing these thoughts I had. And I was like, shit, what am I going to do with these? I didn't really want to be a poet. I writing books for some reason, I just felt like those weren't the type of thought. Like I didn't want these long form things. I loved having these small ideas. And so, I was in early on in my life, it was like, Neil Young and Rush and early U2 records. And I just felt like, okay, what they're doing, like there's a synergy here with what they're saying and the way it makes you feel and what I'm trying to write. So I felt like, you know what? Better learn how to play guitar and learn how to sing, and this is going to be the way.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So you had the chance to meet Van Halen and Page and Plant. Were there other artists like that, like Rush and stuff did you get a chance to meet those people? And
Yeah, I mean, even up to like Bono, we've had the chance to sit and talk music, talk life with a lot of these legendary artists. I mean, even these guys with, both Eds from Collective Soul and Live, the two on right now. It's like people that have lived a life of music, just have unique experiences and kind of expectations that are different in terms of it is about connection. Like our lives are all around. You write this song kind of by yourself or with your band, and then you want to take it out because you want it to connect you to other people. So it really is about having conversations. And as much as I love talking to those people, you said it before, I love talking to fans almost even more, because those are the people that are really like getting value from the music and putting themselves in your place. And if you're blessed enough to have those experiences with fans, man, that's where the true art exists.
yeah, so you're not like annoyed when a fan comes up to you and starts telling you
Never.
how great you are. It's not
Oh,
uncomfortable.
we do these VIP meet and greets, and some bands just they take the money and it's like, oh, here's your picture and thank you and here's your gift bag and out. We make it the whole band, everyone in OLP, we make it a priority. We give everyone like time to talk and almost like tell us, we don't say it, but they all kind of do because they know they have this vehicle to talk. It's like, what, like, tell us your story, why you're connected to this band. And man, honest to God, Chuck, like sometimes we need like an hour before we go on stage because some of these stories are so heavy. You just need to decompress and like take it in, have gratitude, but like just be like, holy shit, that just blew my mind. And you can't wash it off you, but there's moments where it's like you guys are on in 15 and we tell our tour managers like there's no way, like we need a minute. This was so heavy what we just heard.
Wow, that's awesome. And then just the fact that you're doing so much charity work too. That's like taking it to the next level. Like, I mean, the music alone is, I think, changing the world for the better. But then the fact that you're doing all, I mean, you won these awards and things and work with War Child and all these
Yeah.
organizations. Did you talk to Bono about that when you met him? Did you guys discuss that at all? Like humanitarian causes?
Yeah, I mean the thing with those guys is specifically, you have to do stuff. You can't just it's not a part, it can never be part of your brand. You're not trying to, oh, I need to do this and that and make my brand look better. For us, it's always been, specifically me, it's always been like, what am I connected to? Like War Child, because they work with children in more affected regions, music and play. It's about mental health again. It's about getting these kids who've seen like unspeakable sadness. How do you help them be just kids again, like an 8-year-old kid, and have joy when they've seen potentially their village blown up or lost family members? And it's always through like play, which is, just a soccer ball, or it's through music, which helps them escape. So the fact that War Child is so intrinsically attached to music, that made perfect sense. you know, my wife and I, we have, you know, everyone's family has someone in it that has mental health problems. So that's an easy one as well. You know, when you live that firsthand, you can't help but connect yourself to mental health. So again, it's never about, you know, thinking of it very Machiavellian in terms of like, oh, we need to work with a charity for our brand. It's not that at all. It's personal shit.
No, I could tell. I mean, you're very genuine, and I mean, people could see that in the film, and I think that's awesome. I love the music. I love what you're doing with the new song and the proceeds. You guys are going to be out on tour, or you're out on tour now, I think, with Collective Soul and live in Grayland.
Yeah.
Is it live or live? I thought when they first came out, they said you guys are all mispronouncing it. It's live, and they just go with live now.
It's definitely live. Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
live. The band. Yeah.
When they first came on MTV, though, I'll never forget that. They're
Really?
like, everyone's been mispronouncing it. The band is called Live. And then I was like, oh, really? Everyone's been calling it.
Well, that's funny because I remember that whole record came out, was called Live Through This. And I was like, is it live through this? Because you can always misconstrue. So funny.
Right. Yeah. Awesome. Very cool. Well, I'll have to check that out if you guys hit Phoenix or anywhere nearby here. I'll drive.
I know we're not playing Phoenix, but we're just routing like an OLP headlining tour for the US, probably like in February, March. So I'm sure we'll be in your neck of the woods for sure.
Yeah, I've never seen you guys live. I've started doing a deep dive into your catalog. I mean, do you do any of that solo stuff or the Moon versus Sun stuff?
I don't. But my wife, and like I don't know if I mentioned, my wife and I have a book coming out and a new album as well. So we'll be doing that as well. We just try to be creative as possible every day. So tons of stuff coming. But I really appreciate you watch that film. That's amazing.
Yeah, no, I'm like I said, I just did a deep dive and I'm loving your whole catalog and the other stuff that your Moon versus Sun, all this stuff is great. Yeah. So I look forward to the new album and the book. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, we'll hit you up for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks so much, Raine.
Thanks, Chuck. Peace, man.
Bye-bye.
One of a kind, from the rockers to the wise men.